The only way to defeat Mahoraga is to just one-shot him before he can adapt to your attacks. So considering that, is it even possible for anyone besides Gojo and Sukuna to defeat Mahoraga? Well guys, let's find out. We're going to pit Mahoraga against the other top-tier characters and see how it goes. Spoiler alert, it's going to get really ugly fast, and you're not going to expect which characters can indeed destroy Mahoraga. My name is TK, let's get into some anime. First, we have Toji Fushiguro, and I'm afraid our boy Toji cannot win against Mahoraga in any timeline. It's impossible. He simply does not have a strong enough attack to kill Mahoraga in just one blow. And what if Mahoraga adapts to his heavenly restriction? What then? Yeah, exactly. Even though Toji would know about Mahoraga thanks to his insider knowledge of the Zenin clan, it is just physically impossible for him to defeat a Shikigami as powerful as Mahoraga. Next, we have Kashimo. Wait. Maybe Kashimo has already fought and won against Mahoraga? After all, the big three families were around even during this era, and considering how he was the strongest of his era, he must have also fought the strongest sorcerers of the big three families. Nah, just kidding. There probably wasn't a 10 Shadows user back then. However, I'm going to bring up something that more people need to talk about. Stick with me guys, I'm sure you're going to love this one. Well, it's like this. We already know that Gojo is the first person in 400 years to inherit both the Limitless and the Six Eyes. We also know that Kashimo was a sorcerer over 400 years ago. Does that mean that Kashimo fought the previous user of the Six Eyes and Limitless? And if Kashimo was indeed the strongest, does that mean he actually won against the previous user of the Six Eyes? What do you think? I'd say it's highly unlikely that something like that happened. We do know that Gojo's predecessor and the user of the 10 Shadows killed themselves during a fight. And it's likely that they were both born after Kashimo's death. But how is this relevant? It's relevant because we have to understand that if Kashimo was born a few decades later, he wouldn't have been the strongest. Or a better way to phrase it is that Kashimo is indeed a fraud. He is from a generation of farmers. His strongest attack is literally just Kamikaze. Yup, that's right. Kashimo would simply be exposed as the fraud he is. His mystical beast Amber will be useless because it doesn't have the potency to instantly one-shot Mahoraga. And that's all there will be to it. Although, I guess if he had some sort of domain expansion, it would have been a different story. Next, we have our first special grade sorcerer. It's Yuki. Do you think she can defeat Mahoraga? Well, she is a special grade, so we're going to presume that she already knows about Mahoraga, which means that she also knows that the only way to defeat this Shikigami is to one-shot him. Just completely destroy him before he can adapt to you. And luckily, Yuki has a way of doing that. Her innate technique is Star Rage. It is ridiculously overpowered, in the sense that it allows her to grant virtual mass to herself and to her Shikigami as well. There are no limits to how much mass she can grant because it's all virtual. And as you can expect, this makes her some pretty destructive offense that can easily and neatly defeat even special grade curses. The question is, can she use the same force on Mahoraga? Her Shikigami is called Garuda, and it is basically an alive curse tool that she can grant lethal doses of mass to. So what if she throws Garuda at Mahoraga and just adds a few several thousand kilograms worth of mass to it? Do you think it would be enough to destroy Mahoraga? Well, here we're going to use what I call a pro gamer move. We know that Yuki has a domain expansion. Yes, we don't know what exactly it is, but just like most of the other domains, it must have a sure hit attack, correct? So yes, Yuki is just going to use her domain expansion and then blast Mahoraga with Garuda. Of course, Garuda's mass would be over 9,000. Or like how it was during the Kenjaku fight, she can just unleash a literal black hole on Mahoraga. Now, we're going to apply a similar logic to Jogo and see if he can defeat Mahoraga as well. But first, let's get one thing clear. During the Shibuya incident, Sukuna had more trouble fighting Mahoraga than Jogo. He was basically toying with Jogo. While with Mahoraga, it was at least an actual fight. This is why the only way Jogo can win against Mahoraga is if he one-shots him, which means Jogo will need prior knowledge of Mahoraga. Then he can use his domain expansion, Coffin of the Iron Mound, and simply burn Mahoraga into oblivion using Maximum Meteor. Maximum Meteor is basically Jogo's maximum techniques where he generates a massive flaming meteor and throws it at his target. Now, we have to remember that Sukuna himself also admitted that he wouldn't have come out unscathed if the meteor did actually hit him. So if Jogo brings Mahoraga into his domain and then blasts him with Maximum Meteor, he can defeat him with this. However, if he fails, he won't get a second chance. Unlike Yuki, Jogo is a cursed spirit and Maharaga's sword is meant to destroy cursed spirits. Sukuna also said that if he wasn't in Yuji's body, Mahoraga could have one-shotted him. So yes, Jogo's only bet is nuking Mahoraga with Maximum Meteor. This brings us to another character who can do basically the same thing. We're talking about Yoruzu. And yes, we have already seen her lose to Mahoraga, but for the sake of argument, if she uses her domain expansion, threefold affliction, and then blasts Mahoraga with her True Sphere thanks to the domain sure hit effect, she can win. In fact, she has a higher likelihood of pulling this off than Jogo does. Maximum Meteor is just a flaming meteor. However, True Sphere is a sphere that generates infinite pressure thanks to it having no contact area whatsoever. It is literally untouchable, unless Mahoraga has already adapted to it. There's absolutely no way he won't be destroyed by Yoruzu's True Sphere. Now, I'm not saying that True Sphere is definitely stronger than Hollow Purple. However, we have to keep in mind that Sukuna used Mahoraga's adaptation to deal with the True Sphere, while he was able to tank and heal from Hollow Purple. So at the very least, True Sphere is dangerous enough to delete your very existence. As long as Yoruzu uses it before Mahoraga adapts, she will defeat him. Moving on, we have Mahito, and Mahito is a little tricky. The question is, will Idol Transfiguration work on Mahoraga or not? Because if it does, then Mahito can also just unleash self-embodiment of her perfection and finish off Mahoraga with Idol Transfiguration. Idol Transfiguration is a technique that allows him to reshape souls any way he wants. And if he uses self-embodiment of perfection, he is automatically connected to any soul that he wants. But if you remember back when Gojo brought Sukuna in the Unlimited Void, Sukuna made Megumi's soul bear the burden for Mahoraga's adaptation instead of Mahoraga's own soul. This implies that Mahoraga does not really have a soul that Mahito can manipulate, which in turn means that Mahito would have had to attack the soul of the one who summoned Mahoraga. But if you are strong enough to summon Mahoraga, you can probably also easily defend against Idol Transfiguration. On the other hand, this matchup is particularly horrible for Mahito because of Mahoraga's Sword of Extermination, which can take out cursed spirits in an instant. Not to mention, if he manages to adapt to Idol Transfiguration, he will be a menace unlike anything Mahito can conceive. So yes, while Jogo could potentially defeat him with a destructive attack like Maximum Meteor, Mahito does not have that kind of powerful attack that can one-shot someone as strong as Mahoraga. Next up, we have our boy Hakari, and I'm afraid this one won't go to Hakari. You see, Hakari's strength is all about weakening his opponent by constantly hitting jackpots. However, if it's a battle of attrition, there's absolutely no way whatsoever that Mahoraga would lose to you. It's impossible. He is going to adapt against Idol Death Gamma, and with that, it would be over for Kenji. Especially since this domain expansion itself also doesn't have an actual sure hit attack, Mahoraga would simply adapt and win. That's all. Alright, up next, we're going with Kenjaku. A boy who can control gravity, dodge black holes, and absorb cursed spirits. Can someone with as diverse an arsenal of attacks as Kenjaku beat Mahoraga? He doesn't need a barrier for his domain expansion either. Now, I know what you're thinking. Can't Kenjaku just use Maximum Uzumaki and unleash a stupid number of curses all merged together as one? But that won't work because Mahoraga can easily deal with all of them with just one slash of his Sword of Extermination. This means Kenjaku will have to rely on other techniques for Mahoraga. However, this is a slippery slope. We don't know how many abilities he has, but what we do know is that he was never strong enough to defeat a Six Eyes user, even in the past. So it is indeed a slippery slope. How can he win against Mahoraga when he couldn't even defeat the previous Six Eyes user, who were probably weaker than Mahoraga because when a Six Eyes user fought a Ten Shadows user in the past, they both died. Still, Kenjaku did win against both Yuki and Choso, and considering his intelligence, not to mention how he can use domains just as well as Sukuna can, we can speculate that if he were to fight Mahoraga today, he would win. He probably has something up his sleeve though, just like how the anti-gravity system came out of freaking nowhere. Alright, we have next Hana, the Angel. And this is going to be really straightforward. We know how Angel was able to nearly destroy Sukuna thanks to her Jacob's Ladder. Besides, her technique is literally just to erase or extinguish other cursed techniques. She can simply cancel Mahoraga's summoning before he can adapt. Yes, maximum output Jacob's Ladder can easily one-shot Mahoraga out of existence just like that. And not just Mahoraga, Jacob's Ladder can simply take out the Ten Shadows technique itself. Honestly, Gegi made Angel too strong. Maybe that's why he had to make her so dumb as well. Now, the next one is really straightforward. It's Takaba. What do you think? Can Takaba defeat Mahoraga? Not only does Takaba have absurd levels of cursed energy, his innate technique is also probably the most broken out of anything we've ever seen in the story. He's a comedian. Whatever he thinks is funny shall come to pass. Yes, he doesn't know about his power, but as the story said itself, he can even oppose Gojo Satoru with it. So a battle between Mahoraga and Takaba will either be the goofiest battle possible or an instant destruction. If it's the former, Takaba will keep thinking of funny stuff while Mahoraga will continue to adapt to it. And it will be an endless wormhole of craziness after craziness. And if it's the latter, then Takaba will probably think like somehow it would be funny if Mahoraga was just a pickle. So yes, Takaba is another chance character who can maybe defeat Mahoraga. Which brings us to the final one of our list, and that is of course our boy Yuta. As of chapter 249, we also have seen Yuta's domain expansion. It's called Authentic Mutual Love. He can just bring you there and then destroy you with his copied curse techniques that are absolutely going to hit thanks to the sure hit effect. Now, once he has Mahoraga in his Authentic Mutual Love, he can either spam Mahoraga with endless techniques or unleash one strong attack that can one-shot him. But even if he can't just one-shot Mahoraga, we know that Mahoraga only gets 8 adaptations per fight. He can stuff Mahoraga with 8 weak techniques until Mahoraga can no longer adapt and then just destroy him any way he wants. Yes, Yuta can easily win against Mahoraga regardless of the situation. Heck, he might be the only one who can still win even after Mahoraga adapts. Well guys, there you have it. The ones who can defeat Mahoraga besides Gojo and Sukuna are Yuki, Yuta, Kenjaku, Takaba, Hana, Yorozu, and Jogo. What do you think? Does that sound right about to you? Come on guys, let's continue this conversation in the comment section down below. And don't forget to like and subscribe so that the algorithm can adapt to the fact that you enjoy some good old Jujutsu Kaisen content. Alright, I'll see you guys in my next video. My name is TK, loving us some anime.
Bankai, Senbon Zakura, Kageyoshi.